And good morning, everyone, and welcome to Great Day Houston. Okay, between this week and next week, most kids will be back in school and the battle of the homework begins. Our first guest teaches executives how to lead a team and how to retain information through play and socializing. He says it's something that can help your students in the classroom, too. Please welcome Dr. Cesare Wright of I Am STEM Powered. Good morning. Okay, so for some students, they say, oh, I'm excited, school's about to start, and I was kind of that kind of kid. What about you?
No, me, I was the opposite. I didn't like school. You'd be surprised. No, I actually teach at a university now. I teach at Rice University. I love college, but school was very different because it was a place that you didn't necessarily get to explore your interests. It was very prescriptive.
Yeah.
It was about acquiring knowledge that was sort of handed to you rather than making your own path.
Yeah, so that's required, and we know the
Right.
reason why we do that, but it doesn't mean that you have to just do that.
Right. So one of the things that I think a lot of students, and we've got a lot of kids in the audience today, and what I want y'all to take away is that school can be fun. You can find ways to do the things that matter to you and find a way to make them academic and meaningful. And one of the ways that I think is very low-hanging fruit is to create a club or a team.
Yeah, we were asking the audience members, like, how many of you were part of a club in school?
Right.
And a lot of them raised their hands. We had Glee Club, we had, was it Mu Alpha Theta or something else? Yeah, right, okay. Just all kinds of things, athletic, sports, a whole bit. So adding those extra things we know makes a difference. But let's say you're that child who loves, we have rugby coming up a little bit later. You love rugby, but you're not on the team. Doesn't mean you can't create your own club and experience it in a different way.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're at a school and you're a kid and you love rugby, but there's no rugby team, so you could get together a group of friends and say, you know what, we're going to create a club where we get together and watch rugby. But not only that, we're going to get with our physics teacher and figure out what are the physics at play in sports like rugby and football. You get with your science teacher and figure out how could we develop new ways of treating traumatic brain injury and things like that relating to contact sports. And all of that can come out of something like a rugby
Watching club.
Watching club.
Yeah. And one of the other things that you do is kind of relatively new to most of us, and that is, of course, gaming. And my son was like, he thinks gaming's awesome. He's like, I like that guy, right? But there is a lot that you can teach through gaming, and you even do this with executives.
Yeah, so one of the things that I encourage kids to do, and your son will be happy, but also adults, multiplayer online gaming. What are you doing? You're working with a team to complete and execute on complex tasks. You're building teamwork, leadership skills. You're taking incomplete information and having to make complex decisions. Those are all skills that translate to the boardroom, to industry, to higher education. So those are really important skills, and kids are doing those for fun.
Yeah, instead create that club at school, so a BattleBots club.
Yeah, you can create a BattleBots club. One of my Rice students was created a robotics club, and a component of that was BattleBots. So he worked with other Rice students to create robots that would fight each other, but there's a lot of engineering that goes into that. Imagine not only making a robot function, but making it function in a way that it's very hard to damage. It can complete complex tasks. There's a lot of complex engineering involved in that.
Yeah, film and photography, arts, things like that as well.
One of the most important things you can learn to do today is to tell your story, to tell your personal narrative. By working in film, art, photography, you learn how to assimilate who you are and give that message to other people in a way that resonates with them. And that's essential. If you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to go to somebody, a venture capitalist, and say, hey, give me $20 million for this idea. If you can't tell your story, he's going to say no, right?
The other thing I like about the formation of clubs is I think whether you meet before school or after school, it's an area where you're not necessarily competitive. You all have a similar interest. It kind of decompresses you from school, I would think.
Yeah, and it does it in an interesting way. So you're getting together with like-minded people. I had a parent at a summer program at Rice, and one of the parents reached out and said, you know, we were watching Stranger Things, and my kid is one of the Stranger Things kids. He has this group of friends, like-minded friends, that, you know, they're all a little bit strange and they're quirky, but they're really smart. And if they didn't have each other, they would feel sort of left out.
Well, I'll tell you before the show, because I moved a lot. I went to 5 different elementary schools. My dad was in the military. And I remember saying to my mom, I go, I really don't like school this time. And I was a kid who loved school. I just felt isolated. I felt picked on. I was like an awkward looking kid. And she said, instead of, I love you like you are, honey, she said, why don't you start a Misfits club? And I did, and I had lots of members, but we all took care of each other. We sat around and complimented each other. It's like, hi, Steve, hi, I like your broken glasses. Very smart of you to put the Band-Aid around there, right? You know, but to your point, we felt comforted because there were others like us, and we all could kind of commiserate with each other and lift each other up.
Yeah, and it's important because those things that a lot of times make kids feel different or that lead to bullying or make them feel uncomfortable are their differentiators. They're the things that make them unique. And if they lose that, they're never going to be epic. They're never going to do those big things in life. But if they are around people that foster that and tell them, no, it's okay to be you and to be different. In fact, a lot of us are that way.
Yeah, Bill Gates was a little different, right?
Bill Gates,
Michael Dell was different.
Steve Jobs, there's a lot of people. And I think celebrating that takes confidence, and that confidence comes from working in communal environments with other people who say, no, it's okay to be you.
Yeah, all right, some steps to forming a club.
Right. So one of the things that you need to do is figure out what do you want to do? Create a vision, because if you have no vision, then you have nothing to mobilize people around, right? So decide what you want to do, be clear on that. Then figure out, is somebody else already doing it? Because if so, it doesn't mean you don't need to do it, but if they're already doing it and they're doing it better than you, maybe join that club. But if you look and the market's undersaturated, once again, you're hearing entrepreneurship skills, right? You look around, you say, if nobody's doing this, what could I do better? And then you start looking into what resources would I need, who are going to be my stakeholders, and here comes the networking skills. So you start reaching out to school administrators and teachers.
Because you need a sponsor. You
need a sponsor. And now you're getting on the radar. You're building that resume in 6th, 7th, 8th grade. You're building a club or a team that could go on to high school. Maybe you take this to college. Maybe you graduate from college and turn this into
getting a reference to college, right? From that teacher who was your sponsor who says, this child took the initiative to start this club and ran these meetings.
Yep, and you're doing that all in a way that you're building a whole set of skills. So whether or not your club's successful, maybe it fades away in a year or two. Maybe you leave and the club goes away. Maybe it never gets off the ground. But the practice of going to people and advocating for a position, clarifying your ideas, thinking through a complex process, those are invaluable skills that are going to help you in college, they're going to help you in industry, and they're going to make you just more fulfilled and competitive, I think, as a person.
And I think it makes school more fun, right? And we wrap up with what it is that you seek to do with your STEM program.
With I Am STEM Powered, what we want to do is really promote learning rather than education, and encourage kids that there's learning all around. You're going to have, you know, musicians on the show later. Think about that. Music is a mathematical language.
Yeah.
You think about beats per minute, BPM, all of the mathematics that underlies music. So if you're a kid that's really into music, that's technology, that's math. Finding a way to bridge from the things you do every day into the academic skills that are going to make you successful in industry, that's what we want to promote.
The world is a classroom.
Exactly.
Cesare, thank you very much.
All right,
and for more information and resources on how to help your child in school, head over to greatdayhouston.com.